Hi there everybody, Jonathan here, and in this video I'm going to give you the third installment of my first experience as a business owner when I came into an indoor facility for BFF boot camp. And as always, I just want to let you know how humbled I am at the fact that you guys would actually take interest in my journey. I made a lot of mistakes and I also did a lot of good things, and I hope that my explanation of my story will be helpful for you. Now, I'm going to go into this, but before I do, if you have not yet, make sure to click on that link up there and subscribe to my newsletter, as I send out short articles every Monday on how to see success in the fitness industry. If you just happen to stumble upon this video, click on the YouTube icon below and subscribe to this channel, as I make videos every Wednesday based on questions that I get the most. And as always, if you've already subscribed to both my newsletter and to the YouTube channel, thank you very much for your support. And if you find the information in this video helpful, please click on the like button below the video player, because every like that I get helps this channel. And as always, if you want to follow my personal journey in real time through fitness, you can follow my Instagram at jhurdles_ on Instagram. Now, this is actually my third attempt to make this video, as I try to keep all my videos under 10 minutes. And there's a lot of content. The more I think back to my first year, the more talking I found myself doing, and I don't like my videos to exceed 10 minutes. So if I need to break this up into two separate videos, I definitely will. But let's talk about the journey that I made when I first started with the boot camp. All right, so leaving off from the last video, I secured the location. I was very excited about offering a boot camp, and a couple of things that you guys want to know. My first offer was a $97 boot camp offer. All right, so I had no way of reaching all of these families that might be part of the gymnastics facility. So I told the owner, hey, listen, I have a newsletter, and I'd be happy to create a newsletter for you guys. It can be half your stuff and half fitness. I'd supply the fitness, you give me whatever information you need, and then I'll put up the newsletter. So it was a give and take thing. You have to offer to get back. So essentially, they give me a list. On paper, it's 650 names. All right, they didn't have the file to give to me via the computer, so I couldn't copy and paste it. So in one day, I had to individually add each of the 650 names onto my newsletter to tell people that I was putting together a boot camp and that it was going to be $97. The first class was going to be free. All right, and if they liked it after the first class, then they could sign up for $97 for the month. It was 3 times a week. I also put together flyers at the front desk, and I put a sign-up sheet at the front desk. And then everybody that signed the sheet of interest, I called them personally. The promotion process, this whole back and forth, checking every day, talking to the front desk staff, lasted 3 weeks. All right, it's 3 weeks of intensive, like, calling and talking to people and you know, just trying to get them interested in the boot camp. So by the time my first class came along, I had 11 people. 11 people had agreed to try my class one day, and if they liked it, they'd sign up for $97. So the class had to be good. And can I tell you something? Relative to how my classes run now, the class kind of sucked. The main reason why people stayed with me, I think, is number one, I had the energy. All right. Number two, I definitely showed the passion. Number three, I kept them safe. And number four, I gave them a workout that was good, but didn't make them so sore. So I've had a situation where somebody comes into my boot camp and then they do the workout. They weren't quite ready for that intensity level. A couple days later, they're super sore and they're actually completely spooked out. So a lot of you that think that you need to completely smoke out your clients in order to get them interested in training with you, that's not the case. They just need to be comfortable on the ride that you're going to take them. If they believe in the ride that they're going to go on with you, then they'll sign up with you. All right. So I also didn't have any equipment on the first day. I think the first day we kind of ran aerobics class style, where I stood in the front and led everybody through intervals with a stopwatch in hand. And then we just did like a series of squats. We did some crunches. We did some push-ups together. We did some jumping jacks or jump ropes. I kind of like extended it out to an hour, and everybody felt good about it. And I really think it was due to my energy more so than anything else. As it relates to people that I trained outdoors, everybody said they were excited for me. Everybody genuinely was happy for me, but this was a 6:30 p.m. class that I ran in the park, and I was now running a 5:30 a.m. class. So out of those people, 1 or 2 showed up. So when you switch over to something new, you can't be upset if people don't follow you. All right, going forward, let's talk about the struggle of getting equipment. So I didn't have any equipment on my first day, but luckily everybody that was interested in doing the boot camp signed up. So I ended up getting 11 people paying me $97. You think that's great, $1,100. But I had already committed to $500 rent, so I'm at $600 net with no equipment. And the first thing that I did was I reinvested in the boot camp. And that's something that you guys have to be willing to do, is reinvest in your business, because even though people are paying you, when you become a business, they want to know that their dollars are not just going to your pocket, but that you're also reinvesting in them. It's kind of like an understood thing that people want. So it definitely had to be the case for me, because I didn't have any equipment. So the first thing I did was I bought some dumbbells, and everybody was kind of scared for the second day, but it all worked out okay. The next big investment that I made, even though it was expensive for me, was that I got an automatic timer, a title boxing interval timer. And I'll put like a link somewhere in the description box, because I needed a way to run things efficiently. Efficiency is your number one goal as a business owner. And walking around with a stopwatch may have cut it when I was outside or when I was in the gym, but it wasn't going to cut it at my boot camp. Now, maybe I could get by with an iPad, as they have like interval timers, but iPads were relatively new back then. This is 2010, very expensive, something beyond my means, and they didn't have the number of apps that they currently have right now. So my biggest investments were right back into the boot camp, and that's something that you have to be willing to do as a business owner, is reinvest. And I'm constantly reinvesting, because number one, people break things. Number two, you always come up with new ideas, and you don't necessarily have to break the bank, but even if it's not buying new equipment, even if it's investing in like a gathering, a get together, a happy hour, or repainting, people notice that kind of stuff. Cleaning is huge. You want to make sure that you have a clean facility. I wasn't aware of their cleaning company's habits, but I knew that if I was going to have people on the floor doing sit-ups and push-ups, the floor had to be clean. So I had no problem going in and vacuuming the floor. You can't be too big to do anything to ensure the success of your business. So essentially, I run the classes. I have my clients Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I get essentially, I quit at the other gym, so this is my only hustle. I get to the end of my first month, and then I have to find a way to keep people. All right. My main thing is, I was living with my parents at the time at their attic, so I didn't really buy anything for myself that year. I didn't buy sneakers. I drove like a car that was, like on 250,000 miles. I never went out to eat. I never went out to the movies because I couldn't afford it. Any extra dollar that I got either went into rent or went into building the business, because I knew long term, obviously it worked out, that things would work out. Even then, since I wasn't making enough money, I was training at my local firehouse. I had a client who's a firefighter. He said, come on down. I would take a bunch of equipment. It would take me 2 hours to load up my car. It would take me an hour to load up my car, an hour to set up at the firehouse, and then it was $10 a person that came in. So if 5 people showed, I got $50 cash for like 4 or 5 hours work, but that's what I had to do. I secured a job at the local pharmaceutical company, doing like fitness classes afterwards at $35 a class, but it's what I had to do because it worked for my schedule. So in the very beginning, you're gonna have to work as hard as you ever have. You're gonna have to do what you have to do. You're gonna have to reinvest into the business. You're gonna have to give high energy. I'm approaching the 10-minute mark, so I know I'm gonna do a lot more content on this specifically as a business owner, but I know a lot of you may want to know the specifics about the financials. So I was getting, let's say, an average of 2 or 3 more people per month in my first couple months as a business owner. Let's say September to October to November. So for the people that had first signed up, the first 11, after they finished, I needed more money to keep myself going, to pay rent. So I gave them an offer of 6 months at $50 a month. So it was like $300 a person for 6 months. So I was then able to get, pretty much all of them stayed because they loved me and it was a great offer. So I was able to get like $3,000, in one shot. But then again, I knew $500 a month was going to come out for rent. I wasn't paying a lot for food. I was eating ramen noodles and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And then, I was buying equipment as needed. And then whenever somebody new started, I would tell them, 6 months for $50 a month. And this held me over for the time being, but it by no means was supporting me. And I think that's where a lot of you guys struggle. This wasn't supporting me yet. So I had to figure out a way, because I was basically thinking that I made a big mistake. I had a class that was well populated, but they weren't paying enough. They weren't paying that $197 a month that I know that I needed to make at 42 people per month to make $100,000 a year. And that was my goal. So even though I didn't have everything perfect, I struggled for a little bit. So, but I never showed that in my training. I always kept my passion high. And one of the biggest things that happened for me was Groupon, because Groupon was very different from the way it is now. It's a much more saturated market, and you don't get full day deals where you're the only person on the show. But when Groupon first started to blow up, they would only feature one business per day in your general area, so it would go out to hundreds of thousands of people. It was my goal to get on Groupon. But back in those days, in order to get on Groupon, you had to have a great site, you had to have great reviews, and my site was horrible. So lo and behold, a couple months after I restart, I get a call from Hin. Hin is the guy that I spoke about that ran like the golfing tournaments, way back when. And I said, yeah, Hin, I'd be happy to have you. Boot camp is going great. Always kept a smile on my face, even though classes might not be as populated, or I might not be making as much money as possible or as I wanted. But I told him to come on down. And then he said, Jonathan, I see what you're doing with your site, but it doesn't really look that great. Have you ever tried WordPress? And so, basically, he sat me down. He gave me like a couple of the intros on how WordPress works. And then basically, I went home that weekend, locked myself inside, my bedroom, and like learned WordPress. It like my brain felt like it was gonna melt, but I learned WordPress. I learned all the coding. I learned how to build a site. And if I didn't have a site the way that I have it now, there's no way that Groupon would have featured me months later, and that was the catalyst to me seeing success. So what do you want to learn from this? You want to learn that you got to do what you got to do, that you got to reinvest in the business. You have to understand that your first workout is not going to be all that great. You have to understand that you have to treat your clients like gold. You have to understand that it's a long haul. You got to make sacrifices, and don't be afraid as you first start to become an entrepreneur to give some stuff away for free, because if I didn't get Hin in the park, and he didn't teach me how to use WordPress, then there is no way I would have gotten on Groupon, and I guarantee you my business would have completely crumbled. I would have never made it, because there was a point that I really thought that I had to quit. But that's going to be for the next video. I see that I'm 14 minutes in. I'm way too long. So stay tuned. I'm going to continue this. I'm going to go over some of the biggest mistakes that I've made. I'm going to go into when everything turned and how I became a big success. So thank you for watching. Comment below if you have any specific questions on this part of the journey that you want me to clear up. I'll be happy to do so, but it's such a long journey. There's so much to say. I had to stop now because I don't want my videos to be that long. But stay tuned. I'm going to make videos every week, including next Wednesday, as long as you remember to eat healthy, hydrate, drive safe. Stress levels low, get rest. Don't slap anybody. Love your clients. They love you back. I'll see y'all tomorrow or the next day, and you have a good one. Hey everybody, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to comment below if you have any feedback, and as always, if you have not yet, make sure to check out my Dumbbells to Dollars course. Whether you're a rookie or a pro, if you're looking to dominate the big box gym scene and learn how to make more money in less time, or start your own business, or just earn CEUs for your certification, this is the best resource that you can find on the market, and it will help you to coach nutrition, teach groups, market yourself, and when you're ready, grow your own business the way that I did. So make sure that if you're interested in growing your business, in progressing as a fitness professional, that you either click on the image or check out the first link in the description box below and check it out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.